That young tree seedling you are planting today may turn around and destroy your home in 10 or 20 years. There are 8 major root systems, yet only 2 are truly suited for most suburban environments. I will briefly go through these and then follow this video closely, and I will show you 9 of the most common trees people mistakenly plant in their yards, then regret it forever. The day comes when that tree goes rogue, runs amok, and can often cause tens of thousands of dollars damage to home structures, requiring engineering level experience to return a house and property to livable conditions. I will also recommend 8 of my favourites, trees that are aesthetically pleasant, of great value, and will never cause a problem to your home's foundation, underground wiring, piping, drainage or sewer systems. But first, check out these root systems. At number 8 we have the taproot dominant system, a deep penetrating main root that can find its way deep down past the subsoil. Some eucalypt varieties, seeded lily-pillies and Illawarra flame trees are just 3 common varieties with taproots. And at 7, the fibrous root system, citrus trees, melaleucas, bottlebrush and honey myrtles. For number 6, the heart root system, thick vertical heart-shaped root system giving it exceptionally good anchorage. Tree types include Sydney red gum, banksia and some eucalypt species. And now number 5, lateral spreading root system, spreads in all directions, particularly steering a path to moisture-prone areas of the home. Jacaranda, camphor laurel, ficus including fig trees. Here is number 4, the surface root system. As the name suggests, roots have an above ground spread much like lateral root systems. Includes trees such as river birches, poplar trees and silver maples. And now for number 3, the buttress root system. These types of trees acquire strengthened, flanged extensions at the base of the trunk as they mature. Some of these are liquid ambers, red maples, London plane trees. At number 2 we have the sinker root system. Similar tap roots, these roots burrow deep, creating good stability for the tree. Varieties include olive trees, Japanese maples, crepe myrtles, and for my least favourite, and at number 1, the adventitious root system. These root systems produce invasive suckers, or new shoots arising from buds on existing roots. Fig trees, some ornamental pear varieties, and tree of heaven trees have adventitious root systems. These can take root, spread and quickly cover front or backyards, creating surface level damage to lawns, flower and vegetable beds. As long as the tree remains, the suckers will grow and spread. Now, as promised, the following trees I'm about to list should never be planted close to homes, near underground utility infrastructures, lawns or garden beds. These trees belong in parklands, farms or properties with wide open spaces. Over time, their sheer mass and invasive root structures will release forces that no homes and properties will endure. What most people don't realise is that a fig tree, Ficus carica, doesn't grow like a typical backyard fruit tree. It operates with a dual strategy: rapid canopy expansion above ground and an even more aggressive exploratory root system below. This root system is not polite. Figs develop a highly invasive opportunistic root architecture. Its thick, searching lateral roots can extend well beyond the canopy line, often 2 to 3 times the width of the tree's spread. If moisture or infrastructure attracts them, sewer lines, cracked drainage pipes, irrigation leaks, even the slight condensation beneath a concrete slab, these are signals. The roots detect gradients in moisture and nutrients, then grow toward them. Once they find a source, they don't just sit, they colonize. Hair roots proliferate into pipe joints. Structural roots thicken over time. What started as a fine intrusion becomes a woody wedge. Expansion pressure increases year by year. Above ground, the tree continues its push. A mature backyard fig can easily reach 6 to 10 metres in height and just as wide if unpruned. A well-established fig's root spread can extend 10 to 15 metres or more from the trunk, depending on soil conditions. In lighter soils, they travel further. In constrained urban soils, they become more destructive because instead of spreading freely, they exert pressure. Driveways begin to lift. Pavers subtly shift. Retaining walls crack, not suddenly but incrementally. The tree isn't attacking in a conscious sense, it's simply expanding with force. There are documented cases, especially with related ficus species, where roots have infiltrated building foundations, lifted slabs and even entered roof cavities via wall cavities after exploiting structural weaknesses. The river birch tree may not be a battering ram, but it is a patient strategist. The river birch sends out thousands of fine roots, each one exploring, sensing, adjusting. They don't smash through concrete, they colonize weakness, a hairline crack in a pipe, a slightly loose paver, a seam in aged drainage. That's an invitation. Over time, those fine roots thicken into structural laterals, applying steady radial pressure, not explosive force, incremental expansion, millimetre by millimetre, season by season. In well-watered suburban landscapes, lawns, garden beds, irrigated borders, the tree becomes emboldened. Plant these trees at least 8 metres away from homes and areas where constant moisture is present. Areas like garden beds, sewers and drains. Preferred for their stunning autumn colours, these trees develop aggressive woody roots that are a nightmare for foundations, pipes and pavement. One of the most common complaints about the liquid amber is its damage to lawns and turf. The surface roots become exposed, creating uneven ground, trip hazards and mower damage zones. Turf struggles due to root competition and soil drying. Gardens and planting beds lose out against aggressive competition in the topsoil layer. Fine feeder roots invade garden beds, stripping moisture and nutrients. Hardscaping is a high-risk area. This is where sweet gum earns its reputation. Driveways, lifting and cracking of thin slabs, footpaths, displacement and heaving, pavers, gradual misalignment and buckling. Maintain 8 to 10 metres clearance from driveways, paths, house slabs. Silver maple, or Acer saccharinum, is widely used in new subdivisions due to their fast growth. These trees develop extensive shallow root systems. They are known for lifting pavement, buckling driveways and damaging drain tiles. Silver maple develops a shallow spreading root system dominated by thick structural laterals and a dense network of feeder roots. Silver maple is a high-risk tree for residential planting near structures. Severe lawn and surface disruption is almost guaranteed. Hardscape damage is highly likely. Pipe intrusion nearly always common where vulnerabilities exist. If any of my subscribers, or anyone else for that matter, live on a small home block or in an urban environment, then I strongly urge you to steer clear of the following 4 species of eucalypts. Eucalyptus camaldulensis, or river red gum, Eucalyptus globulus or southern blue gum, Eucalyptus grandis or rose gum, and Eucalyptus cladocalix, commonly known as the sugar gum, are 4 of the main offenders. Eucalypts evolved in a landscape defined by extremes: drought, flood, fire and poor soils. Their root systems reflect that. Lateral roots extend outward in all directions. Fine roots probe the soil continuously. Plumbing and underground services become very high-risk areas for damage. Eucalypts are notorious for root intrusion. Old clay pipes, poorly sealed joints. Once inside, you can expect rapid root mass expansion causing pipe failure. Foundations are at moderate to high risk, and this is soil dependent. High water uptake leads to soil desiccation in clay soils and shrink swell cycles. This can result in slab movement, cracking in footings. Driveways, paths and retaining structures are vulnerable to root plate expansion, upward displacement. Lawns and gardens can be severely impacted. Now moving on to number 6 on my list, with poplar trees in particular, the Lombardy poplar. These are commonly used as fast-growing tall windbreaks. They are commonly used on farm properties and large estates, and even along boulevards and parklands. Their root systems are notoriously aggressive, actively searching for moisture and penetrating shallow sewer connections, causing significant damage. Poplars are high to extreme risk trees near homes and infrastructure. The risk of pipe intrusion is all but guaranteed. They are notorious for suckering, and so persistent that they become difficult to control. Absolutely do not recommend. The London plane tree has a root system that is a force to be reckoned with. Plane trees develop a broad, shallow root plate with large structural laterals radiating outward and a dense network of feeder roots occupying the upper soil layers. This is a high-risk tree with known recorded accounts of having caused structural damage to property. A news report from ABC News from Australia stated that council had been petitioned to remove plane trees from the Grey Street in the town of Hamilton. As you can see in the images courtesy of ABC News, Emily Bislan, they have caused damage to infrastructure. Easily purchased from nurseries on a whim as an attractive indoor plant, the rubber tree plant, or Ficus elastica, has the most notoriously invasive root system in the plant kingdom. More tears have been shed over this tree by homeowners worldwide than any other tree in existence. The rubber tree plant has a root system that appears to have no end date when it comes to growth. If tree roots were an animal, then the Ficus elastica's tree roots would be a boa constrictor. There is no part of the home, above or below ground, that is safe from this deceptively attractive monstrosity. The willow tree is another of those extreme risk trees that should be strictly avoided on urban home properties. A willow doesn't passively grow into its environment. It reads it. From the moment it establishes, its roots begin mapping moisture gradients in the soil. Slightly wetter soil near a pipe, a slow leak in a drain, irrigated lawn zones. Anything moist is a target for its voracious root system. They are highly invasive, and even severed roots have the ability to regrow. Underground utilities, gardens and lawns, home foundations and home infrastructure are all targets to the aggressive willow tree root system. Well, that was my list of trees to leave off your plant nursery shopping list. There are many more, but I based this list on two things. In my more than 40 years of experience as a horticulturalist, these trees were commonly sought after for their otherwise aesthetic values. Secondly, I have personally witnessed the havoc these trees wreak to personal property. Once these trees become established, on a lighter note, I am now going to list 8 of my all-time favourite trees, species I highly recommend. They will always fit into any landscape, even a tiny front or backyard. They are aesthetically pleasing to the eye, are non-invasive, have moderate growth habits, and are easy to maintain. One of the best trees that suits nearly all gardens are the citrus tree varieties. With many to choose from, it is no wonder they are one of the world's most favourite trees. From varieties of lemon, several orange types, mandarins of all kinds, limes, and the all-time favourite, the ornamental kumquat. These evergreen trees not only provide year-round foliage, but also produce edible fruits. During spring and part the way through summer, the blossoms exude a delicious fragrance into the air. With compact, fibrous root systems, they create very low structural impact. Verdict: among the safest trees you can plant near a house. Crepe myrtles provide a stunning display of colour during the flowering season. Dense clusters of pink, white, violet and red give off a showy display during the warmer months. With a large canopy, smooth bark and a well-mannered fibrous root system, it's no wonder they are a prized addition to gardens the world over. Nothing turns the eye more than the Acer palmatum or Japanese maple varieties. And they don't even need a floral display or exotic fragrance to that. Its unbeatable elegance and stunning foliage is the main attraction in many Japanese-style gardens. These trees epitomise the colours of autumn. Humble in their habits, they reside quietly in any garden setting. Neither their root system nor their canopy can ever be said be an issue from the tiniest garden to exotic estates. Their tender, supple branches easily give to the art of espalier, and they rank highly as a bonsai favourite. There are many forms of this tree available in today's market. These are my all-time personal favourite trees. The olive tree, a symbol of peace, easily slots into any home setting. Slow growing and long lived, this tree brings a touch of the Mediterranean wherever it lies. As far as the root system goes, it is more of a survivor and not an invader. Plant this tree with confidence and enjoy knowing that you one of the world's oldest cultivars. Evidence of this dates back to at least 6,000 years, where it was known to be cultivated in the Mediterranean region. They are one of the earliest groups of cultivated plants. The little gem magnolia is a reliable evergreen feature tree for tight suburban sites, and it earns that reputation largely because of its predictable, non-aggressive root system. It can be planted as a hedge, a featured tree, or even grown in large pots. Its snow-white floral display against shiny green foliage with an underleaf blush of mahogany is truly magnificent to behold. The little gem's non-intrusive root system means it can be planted close to homes without fear. The ornamental flowering cherry tree is prized for its breathtaking spring display, when branches erupt in clouds of pink or white blossoms. Compact, elegant, and well suited to suburban gardens, it offers strong seasonal interest without aggressive roots. In autumn, many varieties deliver warm foliage tones, low maintenance and visually striking. It's an ideal specimen tree for adding structure, softness, and undeniable aesthetic appeal to any landscape. A showstopper for sure, and one of my favourites. The capital Chanticleer ornamental pear, or Pyrus Kelleriana Chanticleer, is widely regarded as the most structurally refined and garden-friendly of the ornamental pears. Its narrow, upright form makes it ideal for tight suburban spaces, while its profuse white spring blossom and rich autumn colour deliver strong seasonal impact. Compared to older selections like Bradford, which develop weak branch unions and more problematic spreading root systems, Chanticleer is notably better behaved. Its root system is generally deeper and less invasive, posing lower risk to paving and services when properly sited. It also shows improved branch strength, longevity and wind tolerance. Great planted in confined or narrow spaces.
And to everyone that's taken the time to watch, comment and be a part of this channel, I'd like to thank you very much. I genuinely appreciate your support, but more than anything, your interest in gardening. Now, I've spent over 40 years in horticulture. I've worked across plant propagation. I've operated 2 nurseries, both retail and wholesale, and I'm skilled in maximising crop yields for farmers in real world conditions. Along the way, I've learnt what works and what fails. More than anything, it's taught me the whys and hows. This channel is my way of passing years of expertise onto you guys. And I'm talking about a practical, no-nonsense way of gardening. My goal is simple. It's to help you grow plants that actually thrive, not just survive. A lot of the times, plants only look great for a season or two and then eventually turn their heels up. I don't want this happening for you guys. I want you to grow plants that actually look great the older they get. Now, it doesn't matter if you're working in a small backyard or you're planning on growing an orchard on a big estate. The principles are exactly the same. It relies on 3 things to be successful. That is, good plant selection, proper soil establishment, and informed maintenance. Get those things right and you'll succeed every time. I'll continue sharing my insights, techniques and lessons that are grounded in experience, not just theory. That way you can avoid making the common mistakes most gardeners make. It's not easy to rub out a garden and start again. You're better off getting it right the first time. So if you've been following along so far, I'm glad to have you on board. If you're new, welcome. More importantly, stay tuned because there's a lot more good stuff to come.